You know, I was really fascinated by this stuff you sent over. Seems like a lot of folks in tech are grappling with this. How do you stay on top of things, really plugged in and thriving when you're not in the thick of it, like in Silicon Valley or near MIT or Stanford?
Yeah, for sure. It's that energy, that buzz that's hard to replicate. And the sources you sent over, they really get at that, don't they? That hunger to kind of bottle that magic no matter where you are.
Absolutely. And they don't just like whine about the problem, they offer some pretty concrete ways to tackle it.
Right, exactly. They're not just diagnosing, they're prescribing.
Okay, so it's more than just, oh, I missed the free food at tech meetups or whatever, right? It's
Yeah.
deeper than that. It's like, what's the word?
Ecosystem.
Yeah, ecosystem. You're missing that whole ecosystem, those random conversations that spark an idea, the easy collaboration, even that little bit of friendly competition that keeps you pushing.
You're spot on. And without that, it's easy to feel like you're falling behind, like you're
Mhm.
stuck in a rut while everyone else is out there innovating.
Exactly. And we know you folks listening want to stay ahead of the curve, but you don't have all day to wade through endless articles and podcasts. So in this deep dive, we're going to break it all down. Actionable strategies, clear takeaways. Sound good?
Sounds good to me. Let's get into it.
Okay. So one of the big aha moments from these sources was this. You can't just passively consume information if you want to really thrive outside of a major tech hub. You have
Mhm.
to engineer that environment for yourself.
Yeah, like proactively build those elements of spontaneity, community, and competition that make those hubs so dynamic. You've got to get intentional about it.
So let's break it down. First up, how do you hack those moments of spontaneous learning and discovery? I mean, in a place like Silicon Valley, you bump into someone at a coffee shop and suddenly you're talking about the latest AI breakthrough, right? How do you get that remotely?
Well, these sources say it's all about actively seeking out the information rather than waiting for it to find you.
Proactive, like you said.
Exactly. One thing they mentioned that really resonated with me was this idea of curating a smart information feed. Basically, you use tools to filter the noise and focus on what matters most to you.
They gave some concrete examples, right? Like RSS readers and Google Alerts.
Yeah, exactly. RSS readers like Feedly, for example.
Yeah.
You can use it to pull together content from a bunch of different sources, blogs, news sites, whatever, so you don't have to constantly be jumping around.
Makes sense. And Google Alerts are great for tracking super specific topics. Like,
Mm.
say you're really into AI ethics. You can set up an alert that pings you whenever new content on that topic pops up online.
It's like having your own personalized research assistant, but free.
Love it. Now, they also highlighted some core sources for staying in the know. I'm sure our listeners are already familiar with these, but it's good to reiterate. TechCrunch is still the go-to for big industry news. ArcSirLif, if you're not already on that, highly recommend it. You get early access to research papers, sometimes even before they're officially published. And then there's Hacker News. That's the pulse of the developer community. You get a sense of what's really getting people excited, what problems they're trying to solve.
It's funny they even talked about podcasts as a way to replicate that feeling of like overhearing a juicy conversation at a conference.
Mm-hmm.
Just absorbing information through osmosis.
Oh, yeah. They specifically mentioned the Vergecast in the Lex Fridman podcast. It's like turning your commute or your workout into a learning opportunity. You're basically eavesdropping on experts.
Right, it's brilliant.
Okay, now, if you want to take it even deeper, like, get that academic rigor that you'd find at a university. They suggest regularly browsing platforms like Google Scholar and, again, Aricborf. A really practical tip they offered was to set a goal of skimming at least one research paper per week, related to your field, of course.
Yeah, it forces you to stay sharp.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Networking. That's a huge part of any tech hub, right? You bump into someone at an event, strike up a conversation, and boom, collaboration, partnership, who knows. But how do you replicate that magic online?
Yeah, they talked a lot about that. It's definitely not as straightforward, but there are ways to make it happen.
They talked about virtual co-working spaces,
Right.
platforms like FocusMate, or even just setting up a study group on Discord.
Yeah, it's about creating that sense of presence and shared experience, even though you're not physically in the same room.
It's about accountability, too, knowing someone else is there, grinding away alongside you.
Right, and there's that element of camaraderie too, even if it's just through emojis and GIFs in the chat.
Now, going beyond just being in the same virtual space, they really emphasize the importance of actively participating in online communities.
This one's huge.
Yeah, places like GitHub, Stack Overflow, even subreddits like R Programming or R Machine Learning. They're not just places to consume information. You've got to be active. posting, asking questions, collaborating on
It's
projects.
where you build your network, basically, your digital reputation.
And it mirrors how a lot of connections are made in the real world anyway, through shared projects, tackling problems together.
Exactly.
Okay, and then there's the virtual events, webinars, online conferences. Google I/O is a big one. For example, even virtual meetups. But here's the key. Use the chat features. Participate in the breakout rooms. Don't just passively watch the presentations.
Engage, network, just like you would in person.
Exactly. Okay, next up, competition. It's a driving force in tech, right? Keeps everyone pushing, innovating.
Absolutely. And you can recreate that remotely too, believe it or not.
So how do you bring that competitive spirit into your solo work sessions? The sources suggested online hackathons and coding challenges as great ways to do this. Platforms like Kaggle and LeetCode.
Yeah, you're basically putting your skills to the test against other talented folks. It's fun, it's challenging, and you learn a ton in the process.
Another way to get that competitive edge is by contributing to open source projects on GitHub. It's collaborative, but there's also that pressure to deliver high quality work, right? Your contributions are right there for everyone to see.
It's a bit like working on a startup, but on a global scale. And they even highlighted the power of like publicly announcing your goals. Saying something like, I'm learning Rust this month on X or LinkedIn.
It's about holding yourself accountable.
Yeah, and maybe getting a little bit of encouragement or ribbing from your network.
All right, so we've covered learning, networking, and competition. But what about those unexpected moments of inspiration? Those random encounters that spark a new idea.
Serendipity.
Exactly. How do you engineer those moments when you're not physically bumping into people?
Well, they had some clever suggestions for that too. One was just to simply schedule virtual coffee chats with peers. Just a casual chat, like you'd have a coffee shop.
It's amazing what can come out of those informal conversations.
And they even mentioned platforms like Lunch Club that are designed specifically for random introductions. Like it matches you with someone you don't know in a similar field for a quick video chat.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's definitely worth looking into. Another idea was to create a mastermind group, like a small group, maybe 3 to 5 people, all driven and ambitious, who meet regularly to discuss trends and bounce ideas around.
Your own little think tank.
Exactly.
Love that. Okay, and they also mentioned engaging with thought leaders on X or LinkedIn, like commenting on their posts, sharing your own perspective. You never know what kind of conversation it might spark or who might see it.
It's about putting yourself out there.
Absolutely. Okay, now, before we wrap up, we've got to talk about support. Having mentors, peers, people who've got your back.
That's essential, whether you're in a tech hub or working remotely.
So for finding mentors, they mentioned platforms like ADP List, which connects you with mentors in various fields. And they also just suggested the good old-fashioned cold email, reaching out to people whose work you admire.
It might sound intimidating, but you'd be surprised how many people are willing to help.
And then there's finding your tribe, so to speak, other folks who are on this remote tech journey. It's about having that support system, getting feedback, staying motivated.
Because, let's be honest, this whole remote thing can be tough at times.
Oh, yeah. They acknowledge the challenges, like information overload, for one.
Right. How do you not get completely overwhelmed by the constant stream of news and updates?
Their advice was to be very intentional about what you consume and to use tools to manage it, all things like Pocket or Notion.
Yeah, focus on going deep in a few key areas instead of trying to keep up with everything. Quality over quantity.
Then there's the discipline factor. It's easy to let things slide when you don't have a boss breathing down your neck.
The structure's all on you.
Right. So they suggested treating your learning and networking time as actual appointments, blocking out specific times in your calendar.
Yeah, like 9 to 10 a.m. for coding, 3 to 4 p.m. for community engagement, whatever works for you.
Makes it more concrete.
Mm.
And then what about when motivation wanes? Because it happens to the best of us.
Oh, yeah.
They recommended connecting your daily efforts to a larger goal, like maybe you're building a portfolio to land a remote job. And then share your progress publicly, hold yourself accountable.
That public declaration can be surprisingly motivating.
Now, here's something I found really interesting. They actually argued that being remote can give you a unique advantage.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, they said that sometimes being in those big tech hubs can lead to groupthink, like everyone's chasing the same trends, focused on the same things, like unicorns, for example.
The billion-dollar startups.
Right. But when you're remote, You're exposed to a wider range of perspectives, you know? You're not caught in that bubble.
You can curate your own bubble in a way.
Exactly. You can tap into global communities, find those niche areas that might be overlooked in the mainstream.
That's a really interesting point.
So how do we put all this into action? Start small. They emphasize that.
Don't try to do everything at once.
Right. Pick one hackathon to participate in. Join one online community. Schedule one virtual coffee chat.
Build your system gradually. Maybe dedicate 2 to 3 hours a day, spread out across learning, connecting, and competing.
And they suggested using tools like Slack or Discord to create like a virtual office, a place where your network can hang out and collaborate.
Love it. Build your own virtual Silicon Valley.
And to really drive home the importance of all of this, they threw in some stats. Apparently something like 85% of tech job openings require you to stay current with industry trends.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
And get this, 90% of tech roles are expected to be significantly impacted by emerging technologies by 2025.
So if you're not constantly learning and adapting, you're going to get left behind.
Big time. They also highlighted some specific skills that are in high demand. Cybersecurity, for example. 40% of employers say it's super important.
Makes sense? With all the data breaches and cyber attacks happening, that skill set is only going to become more valuable.
And here's another one. 93% of hiring managers say they have trouble finding people with open source experience.
Which reinforces the value of contributing to those projects.
Exactly. And finally, even if you can't physically attend big events like CES or SXSW, they pointed out that a lot of companies are now offering employer-funded virtual participation. So there are even networking opportunities there.
Wow, so many opportunities.
Okay, so the takeaway here is this. You don't have to be in Silicon Valley or any major tech hub to thrive in this industry, but you do have to be intentional about creating your own version of that ecosystem, the continuous learning, the connections, the competition.
It's about building your own personalized tech hub, one that's tailored to your specific interests and goals.
Yeah. Exactly. So here's a final thought for you to chew on. How might your unique perspective, being outside the traditional hubs, give you an edge in spotting trends that others miss? What could you uncover by drawing from diverse global perspectives, from those niche communities that are often overlooked?
Like a whole new way of thinking about innovation.
It is, and it's exciting.
Absolutely.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
My pleasure. Always great to chat.